Hi, just here. How are you doing? How are you? Okay, I can't hear you. Okay. Can you hear me now? I fo- Hello. No, can you hear me now? No, I can manage this. I just need to hold the mic. Sit down. we do. Yeah, I needed to. Mm. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Reassurance after brief separation,
Yeah.
indicating the emergence of separation anxiety. To maintain communication and interaction, parents and babies have well-established conversational routines and games with objects. Babies can imitate social cues, such as clapping and mimicking facial expressions. The baby's smile is now coordinated with the parents or caregivers, and it can express both positive and negative emotions. 12 months. Baby directs the parent's attention to interesting objects by using referential gaze. Can tell the difference between familiar and unfamiliar adults. Male and female adults are treated differently. Their parents' facial expressions and use this as a cue to
Hi, how are you doing?
the baby's visual acuity is equal to that of an adult, 20 by 20. Baby
Please, if you are
distinguishes
a
between
parent on
relationships
my
between
live, please,
audio-visual
I would
tastes,
love you
touches,
to
hears, and
to
feels.
identify
It is
yourself,
discovering through
please,
play that different objects have different properties and
because I
reactions.
have a question for
Experiments
you.
with both familiar and
If
unfamiliar
you are a
objects,
parent or
toys,
intending
textiles,
parent,
wooden and plastic
I would
bricks,
love
paper
to
and
have a
cardboard,
communication
natural and
with
everyday
you. So
objects
please,
respond
if you are a
positively.
parent, kindly
Positively responding
signify or just tell me I am a parent and I want to know the number of children that you have. I just want to have an interaction with
some
parents
children can walk around
generally.
holding onto furniture by the age of 12
So if you're
months.
parents,
Demonstrates the
please can you
ability to
tell
entertain
me
himself or
how
herself
many
with
kids you
familiar
have
objects,
and
toys,
how
and people.
do you how are
Intentionality is
you
demonstrated by purposely
spiritually
manipulating objects or
grounded
using
or
gestures to communicate with others.
um amidst
Age-based child
parenting with
development, 1 to
children?
2
How are
years.
you raising
Around
godly
12 months,
children that
the
will
first
glorify
third of the year.
God
These are
and
firefighting when
will
they're 3 or
represent
4
Jesus
consonants.
Christ?
Verbal age and gender labels,
Um,
such as mummy,
I just want
daddy,
to have
baby,
a
boy,
discussion.
and girl, begin
So
to
if you're
be
a
regularly
parent,
used.
please kindly
Reactions to social situations are heavily
notify
influenced by the
yourself
parent's
or say
response. This is
something
known
in
as
the
social
comment
reference.
section so that we can have a
Correcting the child's
conversation
sentences in a
parenting.
conversational tone.
Thank
The
you.
child is capable of teasing and
Hoping to
anticipating
see
the
your
reaction to familiar behavior,
messages.
such as saying
Am
playfully,
I
"That's so
speaking
funny."
alone? Oh my god,
When it
this
cannot be
one
their way,
also is.
children at this age frequently engage in strong protests and even dance. Fantasy play appears between the ages of
I
12
don't
and
know what's
18
happening
months.
with my mic. Oh.
Children pretend amazement with objects like bricks and toys. By the
The
age of
battery
10,
is slow.
simple plays settle.
Or maybe I feel I
Developing
should
bonds and connections with other
I feel
playmates.
I should
Connections
just
in the child's behavioral and cognitive development. By the end of this stage, you should be able to communicate your desires and wishes both verbally and non-verbally. Can exhibit prosocial, helpful behavior,
I
show
think
some
maybe
awareness of other people's mental
I should
states,
just remove the mic
express
then.
one's own feelings as well as those of others. Between 2 and 5 years, physical and sensory. The child is more self-sufficient in terms of knowing when they need to eat, drink, and go to the bathroom. Physical strength is developed through more active games, such as pushing and pulling toys, running around games, and kicking balls. Participates in physical activities with other children, siblings or playgroup friends. Through water and sand play, she can gain a better sensory awareness of colors, shapes, quantities, and sizes. Typically exhibits curiosity about one's own bodily functions, investigates one's own body, including one's own genitals. Communication and interaction. 3 to 4 word utterances appear between the ages of 24 and
Hi
27
everyone,
months.
how are you
This is
doing?
quickly
You
followed by an increase in prepositions up, down, irregular verb endings, written, questions, why is doggy eating? And negative, I don't want it. Rhyming and alliteration, as seen in nursery rhymes and songs, are particularly appealing to children at this age. Most children have a vocabulary of around
so
1,000
I want
words
to
by the
like
age of 36 months.
I don't know whether
By
can you hear
36
me?
months, most children can
Can you
express
guys
their
hear
own
me?
beliefs. For example, I believe a biscuit is in the cupboard. develops a preference for certain
Okay, there is something I want us to like have a discussion about. Can you hear me now? Please. If you can hear me, can you kindly identify? Because I feel that there's something wrong.
companions. Displays early signs of cooperative play, such as in the Wendy house. Language play, such as telling jokes and riddles, is something he enjoys. Can play various roles in the game, such as doctor or patient or mother or baby. Friendship is becoming increasingly important. Separation causes grief. Some children claim to have seen an imaginary friend. Engages in play fighting, demonstrating that it is enjoyable by putting on a play face and smiling and laughing. Theory of mind continues to develop. Cognition and learning. The child's thinking is still pre-operational and egocentric, making it difficult for them to understand that objects retain their qualities even when subjected to different conditions. Object play merges, such as stacking bricks and completing simple jigsaw puzzles. Solitary play is common, but it is a precursor to play with other children. Toys and dolls are used as characters in fantasy play, and stories are acted out with scripts and differentiated characters. Theories and frameworks to support development. Theories. It is beneficial to understand these theories as you consider and reflect on your childcare practice, as they will help inform developmentally appropriate practice. They will also help you understand certain behaviors and how children learn. In addition to discussing each theory,
Abdullahi, hi.
we will look at how each is reflected in or has influenced practice in early childhood settings. A theory is an explanatory framework that is then either built upon and expanded upon, or in some cases, debunked by additional research. Some branches of science, such as neuroscience, can also be used to back up certain hypotheses. As with all methods of operation, those who advanced the theories did so from a specific set of values of use. 1. Nature v. nurture. Are we pre-programmed biologically or genetically, or are we influenced by our environment? Or is it a combination of the two that defines our evolution? 2. Is development universal or diverse? Do we all need the same experiences to develop, or will a variety of experiences result in the same development? 3. Is the child an active or passive participant in his or her own growth? 4. Does development occur in bursts of rapid growth, or is it a more gradual process in which skills are built upon? It is also important to recognize that no single theory can fully explain all aspects of development. Some theories focus on cognitive development, whereas others focus on social and emotional development. It is critical to expand our understanding of children's behavior, reactions, and learning styles by employing an eclectic approach to theory and additional research and cultural influences. Overall, constructivist theory. Piaget was a constructivist, which means that his theory was based on the belief that children's thoughts and understanding of the world are constructed based on their experiences. He noticed learning was viewed as an ongoing process in which children used what he referred to as schema to construct their learning. This is a four-step procedure. 1. Assimilation. Based on their current experiences, children construct a schema about their world. A cat is a four-legged furry animal. 2. Equilibrium. This schema corresponds to the child's current experience, and everything is in order. The child points to the cat in the house and the parent says cat. 3. Disequilibrium. The experience occurs that changes or challenges the current schema. For example, the child encounters a four-legged furry animal known as a dog during a visit to a friend's house. 4. Accommodation. The child modifies the original schema to incorporate the new information. Different four-legged furry animals exist. Some are cats and some are dogs. Sensory motor stage, birth to 18 or 24 months. During this stage, the baby is becoming aware of their surroundings and the impact they can have on them. During this time, the child will learn about object permanence, or the fact that something exists even if you can't see it. Pre-operational stage, 18 or 24 months, 7 years. Symbols are used by young children in their thoughts, speech, and play. At this age, children are very egocentric. They believe that the world revolves around them and their needs and find it difficult to see others' points of view. Piaget's research also discovered that children at this age are unable to conserve, to understand that just because one child has
Theories and framework to support development. Learning what we as an
a drink in a tall, thin glass and the other has a drink in a short, wide glass does not imply that the first child
Hi Bonito, how are you doing? I'm just relaxing. Nothing that serious. Hi, Habiba. Hello. How are you doing? What is happening on this page? Oh, what is happening? I'm just here to say hi. Nothing really. Bartholomew, Grace, Yabo, hello. Nothing really. I just want to have, yes, I just want to like have a conversation with parents. Do you understand? If you're a parent, I would love you to like comment below. I just want to like have a conversation with with parents. Basically like get to know how you are parenting amidst challenges and everything. I just want to have a discussion, nothing that serious. So if you're a parent and you are interested in having this conversation with me, we can definitely talk about parenting generally, because my what my page is all about being a kid spiritually rooted and raising children that are godly, and children that know their identity in God. And basically, so I just want to like have this special conversation with parents. So that's what I'm here to. So if there is anyone who is interested in such conversation, we can definitely talk about it. So not that serious, just like to vibe, talk, and know what's going on, because a lot of parenting nowadays is just nothing serious. Alu phải giáo nhau cầu gì?
Qua một quả không thôi. Ta lấy thuốc.
No, nothing.
You came outside.
No, it's Mopsy that came in. Basic safety for children. Establishing discipline and rules for children. Basics for safeguarding children. To effectively communicate with children. Residential child care for disabled children, supervising school children.
Communication cycle. In order to form and maintain relationships, people who work in residential childcare settings must develop excellent communication skills. Residential childcare staff interact with children and adolescents for a variety of reasons. It's all about creating eye contact and being understood when it comes to communication. People All transmit and receive messages when communicating. We all communicate by exchanging texts on a regular basis. The communication cycle illustrates how communication is a two-way process in which messages are sent and received. These messages could include verbal, including the use of spoken or written words. Body languages, such as gestures, eye contact, and touch, used in nonverbal communication. Methods of communication. The most prevalent method or style of communication is commonly thought to be talking, although the majority of communication is quiet. Gestures, voice tone, grins, grimaces, shrugs, nods, moving away or closer, and crossing arms and legs convey significantly more information than words. Learning to consider these reactions is an important aspect of honing communication skills to obtain the most remarkable results for individuals. When we can't see these indications, such as using the phone, texts, or email, communication might be more difficult. Different people communicate in different ways that are most effective for them. There are various methods to communicate. The way you talk, such as tone, pitch, pace, and volume, might affect how your messages are received. Avoid jargon, acronyms, and overly sophisticated words and terminology. Make sure you talk courteously at all times, tailoring your words to be individual. Body language. Our body language includes posture. When you talk to someone you like, you will be facing him or her and chatting. If, on the other hand, your body is not facing him or her, it will appear that you are uninterested in the talk. Also, if someone is leaning back when conversing with you, it could indicate that they are relaxed or bored. However, if they are leaning forward, it indicates that they are interested. Sign language. Sign language is a widely recognized language all over the world. The tone of voice. When chatting, the tone of our voice is quite essential. For example, if you speak quickly and
Hi. Oh, Okay, so let me read Second Kings chapter 7. God's promise and what the lepers discovered. God's promise and God promised and the depth of the king's officer. Then Elijah said, Hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, Tomorrow about this time, a seah of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gates of Samaria. At the gates of Samaria. So an officer on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, Look, if the Lord will make windows in heaven, could this thing be? He doubted it, right? And he said, In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but shall not eat of it. This was what Elijah said to the man. This was what the man of God said to the man. And hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus the king of Israel blamed the Lord for the calamity that came upon Israel and Samaria. God still had a word for the king and the nation, and it was a good word. Tomorrow, about this time, a loaf of bread will be sold for a shekel. So sometimes we always doubt God's promises in our lives. And that's one thing that sometimes always take people back. Some prophecies they come in our lives, and sometimes we tend to like doubt God prophecies about certain things. Thank you, Holy Spirit, everlasting King of glory. Thank you, the God that sees me. You are an Alpha and Omega. We worship you, we adore, for you are worthy to be praised. We give you So raising godly raising godly children a challenging in a challenging world can be both rewarding and demanding. But there are some few things that you can do to demonstrate your faith through your daily living, your lifestyle. You understand your actions and decisions that you take. And that is very necessary. You understand, when you are raising children, prayer is very necessary. You have to demonstrate your faith through prayers. You have to pray on a regular basis. Pray without ceasing. And for your children, teaching them the importance of communication with God, because that is their first identity. They need to know who God is to them and what God represents in their life. But a situation where you don't tend to teach your children who God represents in their life, that is where, and they tend to like learn different things from their environment, their schools, their friends. As a parent, you are your child's first pastor. You are your child's first um, leader. So they they watch what you do and they do it. You create a very loving environment, unconditional love for them. Do you understand? You show them love and acceptance. You show them that they have to love, mirroring God's love. That's just the basic thing. And you have an open communication to an environment, foster an environment. They feel safe to express feelings and ask questions. That is one of the most important thing as parenting that I so much love. You have to be very open with your kids. You have to teach them things so that they won't get to hear these things from someone else. Because if you are shy to educate your child about sex, basically, and they tend to hear these things, these words amongst their peers or amongst people that want to like take advantage of them, they will tend to like believe these particular people more than they believe you. So one of the prominent things that you have to do as a parent is to have an open communication with your, because this foster an environment where they feel safe to express feelings and ask questions, and be ready to like entertain questions, be ready to like answer their questions, be free, be open. And thirdly is teaching biblical principles. Teaching biblical principles. Incorporate Bible stories and teaching into everyday life. This is one thing that you should do as a parent. You need, there is every need for you to like tell Bible stories with your children, maybe after evening, before night, before sleep. You have to discuss, engage them in conversation. That is one thing that you need to do as a parent. Engage your children in communications, because in conversations, because it will really help them about their biblical principles and apply it to real life situations. There is a way you interpret a biblical story to your children, and then you relate it with real life stories or what's happening basically in our world today. So this is also one of the important thing that we have to look at for parenting. And church and church involvement. Help them think, get them involved in a supportive and church community. Let your children not just be church goers, but let them be let them be serious in their stewardship with God. Do you understand? Let them be involved in church activities, church practice, in children church. Let them be involved in the society, in the units in the church, because this will really foster their communication and also their knowledge of knowing God deeply on the other side of, and them mingling with children that are raised by parents who are raising them godly. So it's also bring a lot of things. And friendship, encourage friendship with peers who share similar values. You have to like encourage your children to have friends that have similar values with them, friends that are raised properly, friends that are raised by godly parenting, friends that are raised by a kingdom mom. This is one of the things that they should not isolate. Don't let your children to be isolated. Let them mingle with godly children. It will really help them. And promote critical thinking is also one of the things. Teach the spirit of discernment at early age. One of the things that I so much wish I was taught was the spirit of discernment, because this really help to think critically. Do you understand? About the world around them and how it aligns with their faith. Teach them if this does not align with what God is saying concerning your life as a child of God, you need to come out of it. You need to come out of it. If they are mingling with friends, and they should have that spirit of discernment, the spirit that will let them know that this particular kind of friend, is it what God is telling me? What is God telling me about this particular type of friend? What am I learning with this particular friend that will advance God's kingdom? So we're going to be looking at also as discuss current events, talk about societal issues from biblical perspective. You understand? You need to like align your teaching, your parenting with biblical experience. It's very, very important, because that is the manual that we have as Christians, right? Bible is from Bible that we will be able to communicate with God. So while raising godly children, make sure that you have everything that you say, anything that you see in the society, you relate it with biblical perspective. What is the Bible telling us about this? You need to teach your children what the Bible is saying relating to this particular thing. So as parents, you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared before bringing any child in this world. You need to be armored, because you are raising arrow carriers. You are raising warriors. You are not just raising a child. So you need to be spiritually rooted. Why bringing these kids to the world? Foster resilience. Life skills. Teach them how to handle challenges and setback with faith. That is another very important issue, or very important ability that you need to like teach your your children life skills, how to handle situation challenges. At times as parents we don't teach these children how to handle challenges or things that might come their way, and when they encounter these phases in their lives they tend to like panic, be anxious about it, be they become so eager, some so eager, like they turn out to be a lot of things. So you have to teach them the spirit of resilience, to foster, teach them how to handle challenges and setback, because in every season or in every age that they encounter all of this there are seasons behind this. So you teach them how to face these challenges peacefully and then overcome it and encourage independence. I think I have mastered this becoming independent to an extent that I feel that I will be a better I will be a better parent. I'll be a better parent in teaching my children to be independent and not relying on somebody for their joy, relying on somebody for their happiness, relying on a particular person for their joy, but they need to be their own source of joy. You need to be your own source of joy. You need to be your own source of happiness. That's one thing that I have so much loved and have so much skills that I have so much developed within myself. And I feel that none of my child will ever be dependent on any individual for their joy or their happiness. Nobody owes you your happiness. You own that yourself. Nobody owes you answers. Nobody owns you your joy. You all of this is solemnly depends on you. So don't wait for people to make you happy, or don't wait for people to don't wait for situations to occur before you be happy in your life. These are things that God has given to us. He has given us happiness, he has given us joy, he has given us abundant peace. So you don't need to wait on people to make you to feel better or to feel accepted or to be to you don't need hands. Yes, you need hands, but in some instances you need to be independent. You need to do all of this. You need to cross those bridges yourself. So it's very okay. And also the seventh one is pray for guidance. Seek wisdom regularly. Ask God for wisdom in parenting. Seriously speaking, you need to seek God's wisdom in parenting, because parenting is not just something that you will say you will do on your own. For God to trust a child in your care, you need to seek for wisdom to go about it. You understand? One thing that you need to know as a parent is that God saw you and knew that you are capable of handling such situation as parenting, and that was why he put that child in your care. But one thing you need to understand is that amidst all of this, God knows that you are capable, but you need to ask for wisdom from God, because only God can give you that wisdom for you to parent your child in a godly way. So you need to pray for God's wisdom and involve them in your prayers. Encourage your children to pray about their own decisions and challenges. That's one thing. Before they wake up, you should let them know that they need to ask God to take charge. Ask God, God, today, what are you telling me concerning this day? What are the challenges that are going to come my way today? So you need to make them know that before they can take any decisions, even as a parent, before you can take any decision, you need to ask God. You need to consult God. You need to ask God, in this season of my life, what am I to do as a parent in this age that my child is going to? What am I to do as a parent? These are some of the key things that you need to take into considerations before parenting. And balance discipline, focus on character development. Yes, you need to emphasize qualities like kindness, honesty, and integrity. Teach them how to be kind. There are times that when I I see some individuals, like even grown-ups, that are not kind. But first of all, you need to be kind to yourself for you to demonstrate that kindness out there. You need to be kind to yourself. If you're not kind to yourself, how are you going to show kindness out there? You need to demonstrate kindness to yourself, to be honest. And all of this, you need to start it with yourself. If you're honest about your life, that is when you'll be able to be honest out there and also take accountability of whatsoever thing that comes your way. So kindness is one of the things that you need to teach your children. They don't need to be selfish about it. It is something that Jesus Christ demonstrates. It is something that they need to do on a daily basis. I see kindness as something that you need to cultivate in your daily life. I see kindness as something that you need to do as Christians. Once you step out, you know that you need to be kind. You need to be kind with your words. You need to be kind with your actions. You need to be kind with your character. You need to be kind with every aspect of your life, because a lot of things are happening in this world that you don't know, or out there, because once you step out, you tend to meet a lot of people, right? And you don't know what these people are going through. A lot of people are going through things that they can't explain. So the best thing you can be as a good person is to be kind. To be kind with your words, kind with your actions. There is nothing. Being kind is not something that you need money to buy. It's not something that you need millions to get. It comes from the heart. And if you are not a kind person, I would love to tell you that today, try your possible best to be a kind person and also a kind parenting to your children, because it will help them go a long way. There are instances where I see where kindness has taken me to just to be kind. So you need to teach your children how to be kind and to be honest. Because if you want to teach your children how to be kind, you have to demonstrate kindness to them, right? And if you want to teach your children how to be honest, you have to be, you as a parent, you have to be honest with them, right? You have to be honest with them. So all of this starts from home, it starts from the house, it starts from your daily lifestyle as a parent. So you have to cultivate it as your daily lifestyle and involve them in serving others to cultivate a heart of compassion. Yes, you need to involve your children in serving others. They should not always expect that they are the ones to be served always. Teach them that they need to serve others also, because others also, they need that generosity. They need, because but the situation where you teach your children that they are queens, they are kings, they are princesses, they are prince, they need to be always be serving them. They will not know that them also, they need to render service to some people or some children or people. Do you understand? So you need to show them that they need to serve. There are some instances in families that you see they have house help, what we call house help or maids around, and your child is up to like 5 years old and your maid is still taking food to your child. I don't see that as you being a good parenting to them, because at age 5 you should be able to tell your children, teach your children that they should take their food to the dining and eat it. They are not supposed to sit at the dining for their food to be served. They are not supposed to misplace their shoes or displace their items and expect others to come and arrange them. At this stage of 5, I think children are supposed to know where their shoes are supposed to be and arrange them. They are not supposed to, they're supposed to take care of themselves, wash their dishes after eating, put them, arrange their things in a proper way. They're supposed to learn how to lay their bed. That is early parenting for me. And then you have to focus on balance, discipline, and grace. Consistency, set clear boundaries and expectations. Show forgiveness and understanding, illustrating God's grace. That's another thing. All of this even start from home, where you illustrate forgiveness. When you are not able to like forgive, maybe as couples, your partner did something and you hold it against your partner and you are finding it so difficult to like forgive. One thing I want you to know is that your children sees, they sense what is happening. They know that, oh, mommy is not happy with daddy. Daddy is not happy with mommy. Do you understand? So if they sense that you are being unforgiving, there are so many chances that they tend to grow up with that mentality that you need to hold grudges. So these are things that you need to like teach your children, that you don't need to hold grudges. You don't, the spirit of forgiveness is very necessary, and they learn it through their parents. So if you are not being able to like forgive your spouse,
your partner for that particular thing. Today I'm reminding you, there is every need for you to do it, not for your sake, but for your children, so that they won't learn the habit of unforgiveness. And being patient, long-term perspective, understand that growth and development take times. That's another point that you need to like teach your children on to do. Let them understand that there are seasons for everything, because if you don't let these kids understand that there are seasons for everything, they feel that every day is Christmas. And you know, Christmas is seasonal, right? So you have to let them know that it's not every day that you there is going to be cookies. We are going to the shop to buy cookies. It's not every day that we are going to be shopping. It's not every day. There are seasons. So you need to teach them to understand growth and develop time. Development take time for you to develop, for them to develop to a certain stage. It took years for them to move from being an infant to a toddler stage. It took some months. So you need to teach your children that development takes time and they need to be patient in life. Because a patient, there's a saying, a saying that a patient dog eats the fattest bone. So when they are patient in life, they tend to like have all that they've desired for. But if they rush life, they might end up where they are not meant to like end up. They might end up where life will happen to them. So you tend to teach them to be patient with their life, and development take time. For them to be an adult, they need to go through serious changes in their life, in their abilities, in their mindset, in their educations and everything. So you need to teach your children that patience is a very paramount thing, virtue that they should have as kids. And all of this also surrounds in your home. If you are not a patient parent, they know it. They know it. So you need to pray for the Spirit to be patient with them. Sometimes they might get on your nerves, but you need to be patient with them. Why being patient with them? You are also teaching them how to be patient in life and to be patient with others. It's very, very important. They need to be patient with others. That's why I always say that parenting involves your lifestyle, because they see what you do and they emulate what they see around you or they see you doing. So you have to be very patient with these kids, and being patient with them, it gives them the mentality that they have to be patient in life. So now let's go on, celebrate progress, acknowledge and celebrate their spiritual and personal milestone. You see this little milestone, like setting goals for them, and once they achieve it, celebrate with them. Like Bible studies, tell them that in this month, in your free time, I want you to read the book of Corinthians, First Corinthians. Do you understand? So once they read, and you know what the book of First Corinthians is all about, so once they read the book of First Corinthians, each week they will have to like tell you what they've learned in the book of First Corinthians. And once they are being able to like express themselves or tell you generally everything that they've learned in the book of First Corinthians, that is a big milestone. That is something to celebrate, right? Because when you celebrate, they tend to like do more for themselves. So you need to acknowledge and celebrate their spiritual and personal growth. This really encouraged them. Raising godly children into today's world requires intentionality. It requires for you to be so intentional as a parent. You need to be prayerful, and you need to be committed to living out your faith. You need to be committed in living out your faith. It's a journey filled with ups and downs, but with God's guidance, you can instill strong values in your children. You can instill strong values in your children.